Welcome to Talk Tickers. Today, we're digging into NextEra Energy's Q4 2025 earnings call. And let me tell you, this one is a fascinating case study and why you should never, ever just trade the headlines. So on the surface, things looked kind of messy, right? You see a revenue miss of nearly $300 million that initially spooked the market, no surprise there, sending the stock down in pre-market. But then, by the closing bell, a complete 180. The stock rallied almost 2% on some pretty heavy volume. I mean, that is a classic head fake if I've ever seen one. So the big question is, what did the market see? What did they figure out during the trading day that the headlines totally missed? All right, let's dive in. First, let's just quickly look at those headline numbers, the ones that caused all the initial confusion and drove that early sell-off. So on the bottom line, it was a beat, but a narrow one. Adjusted earnings per share came in at 54 cents, which was just a single penny ahead of what analysts were expecting. It's a small check in the plus column, but nothing to write home about. But the top line, whoa, that was a completely different story. Revenue of $6.5 billion missed the consensus estimate by almost $300 million. And in a market that's just obsessed with growth, a miss of this size is exactly what grabs all those negative headlines. And yeah, that revenue miss is what drove the whole negative narrative at first, and that pre-market dip we saw. But as we know, that is not where the story ended. Not even close. Now for the real story. This is what came out during the earnings call itself. Management got on the mic and painted this powerful, long-term picture that honestly made those quarterly revenue figures seem almost irrelevant. The central theme was just crystal clear. They are positioning NextEra as the premier infrastructure builder to power the next huge wave of electricity demand in America. And what's driving that wave? The massive, and I mean massive, power needs of AI and data centers. So they laid out this really compelling bull case. It's all focused on that huge demand from AI, their unique ability to serve the big tech companies, the hyperscalers, with their special bring-your-own-generation model, plus their enormous development pipeline, and of course, their proven track record of actually getting stuff done. Okay, and this slide, this is where things get really interesting. Just look at the sheer scale of their backlog. It's sitting just under 30 gigawatts. And get this, they added a record 3.6 gigawatts in the fourth quarter alone. Now, this isn't just some number on a page. This is incredible visibility into future growth for years and years to come. And this table right here, this just brilliantly illustrates the financial story they're telling. See, management didn't just meet expectations for 2025, they came out and confidently reaffirmed this powerful long-term outlook. We're talking 8% plus earnings growth for the next decade and double-digit dividend growth in the near term. That's confidence. Okay, let's move to the Q&A because this is where the rubber always meets the road, right? Management's job here was to defend the super bullish outlook against some pretty tough, very specific questions from the line on the analysts. And you know what? They handled it perfectly. Throughout the entire Q&A, the team just systematically addressed every key concern that came up, everything from competitive threats to regulatory hurdles. And in doing so, they clearly boosted the market's confidence in their strategy. You could almost feel the sentiment shifting on the call. So let's put it all together. What's our take on NextEra from here? What should investors be watching for on the next earnings call? I mean, look at this. The entire story of the day is right here on this one slide. The market completely shook off that initial headline miss, totally bought into the long-term growth narrative, and sent the stock firmly into the green on higher than average volume. So the crucial point, the big takeaway here is this. For a best-in-class operator like NextEra, the market ultimately decided that a decade-long growth runway fueled by AI demand is way more important than a single quarter's revenue timing issue. Looking ahead, we think the narrative is going to be driven by two things: execution on that massive backlog, and most importantly, concrete announcements related to their data center strategy. The stock is now trading on that story, not on small quarterly ups and downs. And for all those reasons, we are initiating a rating of outperform. The company's strategic positioning as the key infrastructure provider for this AI-driven energy transition, well, it provides a clear and durable growth path that we believe the market is going to continue to reward. This is not financial advice.